The Browns are winners here in Nashville today and are now 9-3. Mary Kay, let's get right to it. I think probably the big story in this game, the thing everyone is talking about, is the way that Baker Mayfield played in that first half. And it was an incredible first half. 4 touchdowns, 290 yards. The Browns built an enormous lead, 38-7. Probably the best half of football he's played as a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah, you know what? He was mad at himself after last week's game. I think everybody saw that. He was mad, even though they won the game in Jacksonville. He was upset with himself that he missed 2 throws into the end zone. He had done that the week before as well, and he knew that that wasn't going to be able to fly against the better teams in the NFL as they head down the stretch. And I think he has struggled a little bit emotionally, mentally, whatever this season, just with who he is and what he's capable of and what he's doing. And I think he just set his mind to being the Baker that has that swagger, the Baker that wakes up feeling dangerous, the Baker that sticks his foot in the ground and decisively makes that pass and makes it accurately. And he mentioned today that it's up to him to elevate the level of the players around him. And he did that today too. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones drops the pass. He comes back. He has the confidence to throw it to him, and he gets that 75-yarder. So it was the kind of game that the Browns needed and wanted to see out of Baker Mayfield against a good football team, and they got it, and I think it will serve him well going forward. They went against the 28th ranked pass defense in the NFL. They knew that they had the favorable matchup. They knew they had the offensive line matchup versus that defensive line. They knew for sure that they had a receiver and a skill position matchup against that defensive backfield. And they were aggressive, and they absolutely went for it. And that's what we're finding out about Kevin Stefanski, is that he is just going to keep pushing it, and he's going to be aggressive. What Baker loves about Kevin Stefanski is that he trusts him. And Baker says, when he knows his coach trusts him, it makes him feel more confident in himself. So much of this game is mental. Kevin Stefanski and Alex Van Pelt have been giving him the vote of confidence week after week after week. When we keep asking about missed throws into the end zone, these guys keep on saying, don't overanalyze it. Go out and do your thing. I think Baker hit the reset button, and he's just trying to be that really sort of cocky quarterback that we all knew from Oklahoma.
And he was in a rhythm today. I think that's always really important with Baker. When he's in a rhythm, and the offensive line, I'm glad you pointed them out, because they protected really well today. It just didn't seem like Baker was under a whole lot of pressure. And we know how good Baker is when he's not under pressure and what he can do. And he just got into this rhythm. And we saw it against Cincinnati, and we saw it today, this rhythm that he can get into. And then they're just having fun out there. And that's where Kevin Stefanski comes in too. He calls the crazy play with Jarvis to Baker. Look, it wasn't a big gain, but again, those are moments when guys are having fun and they're getting into it. And then Jarvis catches the touchdown pass. And then, of course, there was the Kendall Lamb play. This was probably Kevin Stefanski's best half of football too. And that's saying something, because he's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he has been pretty good this year. And you're right. He mixed it up with trick plays. They tried different looks. They did different things. They didn't rest on their laurels. They didn't do exactly what most people thought they were going to do. And that was come in here and have this be some ground battle between Derrick Henry on one side and Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb on the other side. They knew what they were up against in terms of this pass defense, and they just had fun with it.
So let's talk about that defense now, because obviously they have been much maligned. First of all, let's start with Joe Woods. Comes out, he's playing 5 defensive linemen early in the game, just snap after snap. When they open up the lead a little bit, he kind of pulled back on that and played a little more traditionally. But 5 defensive linemen on the field. You get the 4th down stop. You get the fumble, the forced fumble by Sheldon Richardson. And then even in that second half, when the Titans are coming back, they stop the 2-point attempt. They get a big interception from MJ Stewart after that call got overturned, and the 4th down conversion was overturned, and the Titans kept the football. So even when this defense was starting to give up yards and starting to give up plays, they did just enough in the second half. But in the first half, again, much like Baker Mayfield, much like Kevin Stefanski, probably the best half of football by this defense all year.
Yeah, you know what? Let's start with Joe Woods and the 5-man front. I mean, they borrowed this. They borrowed a page from the Cincinnati Bengals game plan against the Titans. They went out and beat these Titans 31-20. And they did so with that 5-man front. That was not lost on the Browns. They used it. It was extremely effective. Sheldon Richardson had an amazing day today with the 4th down stop. He had the forced fumble that was recovered by Carl Joseph. He had a really good game, and he got complimented by Kevin Stefanski, as he should have for that. But that was a great strategy, and it worked beautifully, and it threw these guys off because the Browns hadn't shown that before. We hadn't seen it. It was a surprise to us. It was a surprise to the Titans. So that was really good. And then the other thing is, just unsung heroes stepped up and made plays. Here these guys are without Denzel Ward, and they are without Ronnie Harrison. So they were going to need some guys in an embattled secondary with everybody doubting them to step up and make plays. Even on the interception, the late interception that was so crucial to this victory, you had Terrence Mitchell coming in and hitting Humphreys, popping the ball free, and then MJ Stewart. Who is MJ Stewart? Anybody remember? He was, a backup nickelback that we haven't heard too much from since for most of the season, really. He makes the big play there, and that's what they need when you have guys like Ward and Ronnie Harrison out. They got big plays by Kevin Johnson, Terrence Mitchell, MJ Stewart, Carl Joseph with the recovery, BJ Goodson with the breakup, Sheldon Richardson. The defense played really, really well. They held Derrick Henry to 60 yards, 15 in the first half. So kudos to Joe Woods and his guys.
They are 9-3. The first time they're 9-3 since 1994. The team they beat to get to 9-3 that year was, of course, the Houston Oilers, who, as we all know, are the franchise that the Browns beat today to move to 9-3.